Yes, we are live. Man, StreamYard is cooking. It's been like a couple of straight weeks without any 30-minute delays between me hitting the button and the show starting. So I'm very happy about that. I'm also happy that it's Friday. I'm always happy to talk to the folks that, we call them the crew, the small business crew. And, it's Friday. It's Small Business Trends. It's the breakdown. There's a lot of stuff to break down. And so let me start introducing folks. Leland McFarland. Leland is in Oregon. How's it going in Oregon today, Leland?
Just thank God it's Friday.
And it's early out there.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, so still a little chilly. But it is a busy week, lots to do, little time, and I'm just glad I get to decompress a little bit.
Decompressing is good. Something to be said. Good. Yeah. Anyway. So, the next two folks, well, one has been gone for a couple of weeks. One was gone last week. We'll start with her. It's the one and only Evana Taylor.
Hi, everyone. I missed you all. I was down in Austin for X Day, which was a market research and customer experience conference from my friends at Question Pro. Super awesome event, but I'm glad to be here with you guys.
The event was called X Day?
X Day for experience.
Oh, I thought like Elon Musk was going to show up.
No.
Something like that. I don't know. He's got a company called X, so why not? All right. The man has been missing for, 2 or 3 weeks. He's been gallivanting all around the world, getting, daughters married and things like that. But he's back. He is the one and only Ramon Ray.
Hey, Brett.
I don't have any like applause music, so I was just gonna that didn't work really well. All right, I tried.
Good to be here.
Look at this Anita Campbell.
Yay!
Hey, Anita.
It's so good to hear from you.
She survived,
and we are really glad that you survived.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, it's been way too long. It's really cool to have you here. All right, so now that we've got and Monique will be coming. Monique Johnson will be coming. She's having little technical difficulties. What would a show like this be without some sort of a technical difficulty? You got to have a little in there. So let's start, and she will join us. And we have Anita here too. Anita, if you want to join us on screen, let us know. We would love to see you. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about something that we talked about before. Canva price increases. Let me just play a little clip. Because, we did toss this around a bit. So before we get to the new news, let's get to what we talked about, the old news when it came to Canva and pricing.
It's not fair if you've been an avid user and helped get the product better and you stuck with it for years and they treat you like that doesn't matter. I like when you get grandfathered in where prices are raising this amount, but because you were with us from the beginning, we'll give you the grandfather. That makes you want to stay even. And you're like, okay, I understand that you have to raise your price, but thank you for treating me like I'm not a stranger. And it feels like that's what Canva left out of this equation.
Brett, that idea of loyalty, man, a lot of companies are just killing it. They're murdering loyalty.
Woo. I think that was me that did the woof at the end. I'm not sure. Feels right. Hey, look, let's just go to the new news. Canva updates team pricing. Now, remember, they were going to go from $119 a year to like $400 or $500 a year for Canva teams. And, they got a lot of brushback. And I'm claiming my role in making them change their policy because you heard me. I was on fire that day. I'm not even a Canva user. I just didn't like the fact that they were gouging customers, particularly the customers that helped them build their business. They're going to gouge them. And now they're not because us, the people, we rose up and we said, no, we're not going this route. And we said it right here. Anybody want to add to any of that?
Yeah, I just want to say I led the first demonstration in front of Canva headquarters, and I think they're either in Zimbabwe, Australia, or France, one of the three. And we were demonstrating around. We went without food or water for 7 days until those prices came down. I'm joking on there, but yeah, I'm with you, Brent. As a Canva user, getting that email like, "Hi, Mr. Ray, just so you know, we're taking your pricing. Hey, what's up, Carla? We're taking your pricing and moving it from 100 a year or whatever, 100, whatever it is, to 300." I immediately I hit unsubscribe. So I was still going to use Canva, but I was just going to use the pro version. So I joined you, Brent. I was one of the people that wasn't too happy about it being a small business owner, even if they made it slower, told us it's going to happen later on, made it gradual, but just how it was done was like, really? So I'm happy for this. And it's nice. It's a win for us small businesses, in my humble opinion.
Before I know even you have some thoughts on this, and I'm sure Leland, that cannot possibly be Guy Fear, whatever that guy's name is.
Ready?
Yeah.
Wars or something. No, IO Wars, right?
Well, but thanks, Guy. You've used Canva, yeah, and it's good. But would you like to use it when you're used to using it for 119? Would you like to use it for 500? Would that change how good it is? All right, Ivana.
Well, it's so funny that you brought this up because I got the email just a couple days ago where they explained all this, and I was happy and grateful. But even before I got that email, we were watching, I think it was Paramount Plus, and there was a whole ad campaign with all these itty bitty students and small businesses using Canva and how much they love it. And I'm like, I wonder if that's where that was allocated towards some fancy schmancy advertising. Like we're all going to pay all this extra money for you to tell us that, that we're going to pay more. And then lo and behold, that email came through. I was really happy and grateful for it. I want to commend Leland, Brent, and Ramon and the entire small business community for rising up, going without food and water until they brought their prices down. But
I must have missed the memo on the hunger strike in the
right. But honestly, it was I'm looking forward to Monique coming in here and anyone else that might have a little bit more PR juice behind them. But I'm kind of curious. Did anyone else get the email? It sort of landed flat to me. They tried to make it human, but it still landed flat to me.
Well, they did say even if they listened to us, no. I mean, I got the email from a customer and they said, we heard you. I could pull it up, but by the time I pull it up, I thought to me it was okay. I felt, hey, dear user, we heard you, we listened, and we're putting it back. For me, I thought it was fair enough.
I think, I just want to say something to our small business friends. This is the prime example of big companies with smart marketers and access to research and data and all these things. And just to show you, they make mistakes too. So the lesson for a small business is, if Coca-Cola can make a mistake and if Canva can make a mistake, everyone's entitled to their mistake. But the thing is, I still have the nagging question of how did this happen in the first place?
I'll tell you how it happened. They took y'all for granted. I'm not a Canva customer, so I can say y'all. All right. They thought that they could get away with it. They're used to getting away with this stuff. I think it was Brian Moran who said on the show, they do this stuff all the time. They know they feel like they can do it because they've been doing it before. That was just blatant. Going from 119 to 500. Come on. That's you can see some increasing, but that level of increase.
Turn it up, boiling pot with the frog. You just turn it up little by little, and then all of a sudden you're at 500 and you're like, how did I get here? No, they just cranked the heat and everyone jumped out.
Yeah, including me. And by the way, Brent, what do you use? We can keep it on Canva, but I'm just curious for your design, video editing, graphics, anything like that. What do you use? Adobe stuff, or what do you?
Yeah, I grew up with Adobe, so I know Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Audition. I mean, it ain't cheap, but I find it very hard to learn stuff over and over again, and I'm comfortable with all that. I mean, Canva because all these people I knew use it. I was like, maybe I should.
Well, Canva's amazing. I mean, Brent, listen, for those who haven't done graphics, which I never have done, meaning I did look into Adobe, years ago not before cloud, but back in the day when Adobe was the king of it, and just the interlacing all the terms, I just, that little square boxy thing that y'all professionals, it just overwhelmed me. So I just went on Fiverr, Upwork, and hired a guy to do what, the stuff we do. But when Canva came out, I remember a guy, Kawasaki, what's the lady he did a book, with Ivana,
Can't
There's a
remember her name.
co-author. You know what I'm talking about,
that,
though, right?
I know that he was.
Wasn't he involved like in the beginning?
He
Like,
was
Still is.
early
He's there.
on.
Yeah, he still is. But after that, I tried it out, and I'm like, oh, I can click a button and do background image removal, and then do all these layers. So I'm in Canva all the time. I still have a team. I still have my graphics guy and gal who can just run circles around me. But for my simple stuff, for Ramon Ray speaking somewhere, Canva's good. It's just not for $300 a year. And even then, my team also fluctuates. That's what got me. If I was Corporation X, had a team of consistently 20, great. But I put a freelancer on there now and then. So for me, the $100 a year was doable, like no problem. But when they made you pay attention to it, to your point, Leland, it wasn't incremental. That one I was like, stop. I'll just be solo person.
just to let everybody know, is all in response to feedback. So always let your voice be heard, folks, whether it's in email or on a show like this. So it's in response to Canva has decided to maintain the current pricing for existing subscribers, which is all I was asking for. I was asking on behalf of y'all, because I'm not one of those. But anyway, users do not need to take any action. So you guys are good, right? Everybody who's already a Canva team user, have you? I guess it's all like almost like Who Shot JR? It was all a dream. It never really happened, or whatever that thing is. So you guys don't have to worry about anything, right? It's just gone back without you having to do anything, right?
Here's the question, though. What about the people like Ramon who jumped ship? Right? Who jumped ship? Everyone who's just like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to go do a pro account, and now they have to go and get a brand new Teams account. Do those people get grandfathered in because they had a Teams account?
There's
Or
instructions.
are
There's
they in trouble?
instructions in the email, Leland.
Okay.
They'll take care of us. But I think, but still the point even in Leland, right, is that they still lost me. Now people like me, and I can't represent all small businesses, but I have a freelance world. I don't have consistent teams all the time. So I could have Jenny, Bob, and Mahindra for the last 5 years just paying the $100 a year. But I've already went out. So I don't know if I need to go back to pro yet until I need to. So they may still lose some consistent revenue for the smaller businesses that have fluctuating team members. I'm not going to sign up for team again. I don't need to.
All right. Just I don't feel so bad about bashing Canva on this. I'm glad that they did, step back. Adobe has some issues too now. Let's put it out there. Adobe. Matter of fact, I don't know if you guys have seen there's a lot of lawsuits going on. There's a lot of tension around Adobe. Like trying to scrape stuff off. Even if you're not even like using the system at that point, asking for access to your pictures and your video and all that. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So there's a lot of stuff going on that Adobe really needs to get taken. And by the way, I don't know if you look at their stock price, it's down like 25% for the year because of some of these issues that are going on. Anyway, so I felt like I need to at least level it out a little bit before we move on. All right, moving on. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is another one ripped from SmallBiz Trends headlines here. According to GoDaddy, 80% of respondents indicated that saving money, and this is like consumers, saving money is more important than ease of shopping. Saving money more important than ease of shopping. All right, so individually, where do you guys stand on this? Ramon, are you more save me money or make it easy?
See, Brent, that's a question that if I answer, I'll be answering something, but I'll be lying because my fingers will be telling the truth. Really, you know what I mean? It's like, are you a racist? No, I'm not a racist. Well, then why do you only have green people that you date? That's weird. But what I'm trying to say is that it sounds like saving money. But I was looking for a brand new phone yesterday, Brent, on Amazon. And I bet if they would have made it easier, I may have bought it yesterday, but there were so many models. I wanted to get a used one. See, get what I'm trying to mean? Saving money seems like it, but yet ease of shopping is one of those tricky things that hits the subconscious level. And I know that was so high, that was so deep. Y'all probably can't even catch up with me, understand what I'm trying to say. It was so high level, but that's what I think.
So getting back to my question, which would it be? Would it be saving money or easier shopping?
Even to help me, Leland, help me. Y'all answer the question. Answer the man's question, people.
I'm
ahead,
the kind of person who will save money. I will go to the back alley website, as long as I could trust it, and I have a trusting pay, I
The
could use
back
PayPal or
alley
something like that.
website. What the?
But and get something for a few dollars cheaper, I'll go for that. I will hunt down the bargain, and I've done it, and to my detriment, and had to fight. Like there was one time where I took advantage of a coupon through Google Shopping, and then I'm like, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll just do it on my other account and use it again. Well, Google flagged that I had used the credit card on 2 accounts, and then somehow convinced my bank to shut down my card. And so now all of my auto payments were starting to stop, and it was ridiculous. It was frustrating, and I did that to save money, and it
Hearing
was
Leland,
terribly inconvenient.
ease of shopping. Leland, in that case, even a step in here, I'm the opposite. I'm the kind of person who gets his tires changed and his wife says, how much was it? I don't know. Literally. I'm the person who buys an airline ticket. Oh, what was the price like on the other one? I don't know. So Leland, hearing your story, definitely not saving money, ease of shopping, even a please.
So we're
I'm
one
not-
ease of shopping, and we're one looking for the bargain. Even you are going to cast the deciding vote here. Are you?
I don't know that you're going to be. I actually am going to say that I am for lowest total cost. So this is where my small business solopreneur value shopper tip comes in. You got to know what your time is worth. You got to know what your time is worth. And that way, what I do is, I'm not saying I'm not as like Ramon. I absolutely look at the prices, but I also do a little bit of trade-off analysis in terms of time, effort to that. And Leland was the perfect example of that.
He was the extreme.
Because like you think you're saying, that whole thing of like driving 50 miles to get your gas 10 cents cheaper. No, I don't do that. But I am a value shopper, and I do look at lowest total cost. And even to this, I'm so curious about this particular survey, because I'm willing to bet they didn't do any trade-off analysis here. I'm willing to bet this was just like a simple survey where people just clicked on something. This would be something where you would want to do some trade-off analysis on, and have people do some rank choice, and have people make some more difficult choices, so that you could truly understand whether this is like clickbait.
Hey, Brent, I want to get your opinion on this, Brent. But before I do, even in Leland, tell me after this so I can get deeper into our mindset. Do either of you go premium on anything? And that'll really reveal me. I'm a more premium person. If I have a choice, Ritz-Carlton, $500 a night versus low-cost motel, $99 a night, saving money. I'm in 3 days, Ritz-Carlton all day. Whatever famous person, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, take your pick of the day, and they have the premium seats. I'm always buying premium seats in the front row. That's just me. What about you both? That'll also tell us how we kind of go. I'm a premium, easy, pick me up from the curb, Uber premium type person. That's me. Because my time and my comfort level. But go ahead.
I am middle of the ground. It's not like if I could hunt and I can get that premium, like 5-star hotel at a really good price, I'll go for it. But usually it's like, if I can't find a good deal, I'll go middle of the road. I won't go bargain basement hotel that, you may come around, can't come away with like bed bugs or something. But I'll go like a solid 3-star hotel, make sure that, they don't got any really bad complaints on their reviews.
Well, as you have come to expect from me, I got to look at what am I doing in the city. So Ramon, when I am in your neck of the woods and I'm going to New York and hotel prices are like $400, and I know that I am going to spend approximately 5 hours in that hotel room, and my suitcase is going to get to sit in a $400 hotel room without me, that is not cool. I don't think that my suitcase should have a better experience than me. I actually look at where am I going? What am I doing? If the hotel is the point, if we are in Miami, if I'm at a conference and there is ease there by being on site at the hotel, and that's going to provide lowest total cost, then I'm in that. If I am going to be gone the entire time, and that normally happens to me when I'm in New York, I have lots of friends, I have lots of business things to do there. I was in New York one time for 3 days. I think I spent a total of 12 hours of sleep. And I did not do a hotel. I did an Airbnb, and I was in somebody's apartment because I was not going to be there. I needed a place for my suitcase, really.
All right. Even to ask your suitcase whether they would like to be bargain or no.
Yeah, my suitcase is very particular. It wants to be in a safe space.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm skew more towards the ease of shopping compared to looking for the absolute best bargain. I mean, I don't want to spend all my time, doing that. And I don't want to go to the like the black market like Leland. I mean, damn, you could get hurt there and that kind of stuff. I skew. If I have the money, I don't mind spending it on something. If it's gonna make it easier for me to do something or spend less time to do something I don't like doing, I'll put some money out. And it looks like Phyllis is on the bargain side, so we're like all over the map here with this stuff. But
there's a market for everyone.
But do you want your customers to be bargain shoppers or ease of use customers? For your customers, what do
my
you
vote
want?
on that? I'm going. Go ahead, somebody. My vote on that, I'm going premium. I mean, that's just learning from different mentorship and things like this, depending on what you're selling. But if I had to choose between selling 1,000 things at $10, $20, whatever it is each, versus selling 50 things at $3,000 each, I just go premium in that. But it really depends on what you're selling. In fairness, right? You're selling a cup or a water bottle. There's volume plays, right? We live in that world, e-commerce and all that. But for me personally, I'd rather, few full fee gigs a year than many low fee gigs, for example. That's just me.
What about you, Eva?
Or many full fee gigs.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
What about you, Eva?
What about me? Well, I believe that your pricing model has to follow your brand. So what I've done is, I'm on the DIY marketers brand. So while I do have some higher priced options, some premium options, those are not the options that I push because that goes against my brand, right? So even airline, that's a thing that's happened recently in the news too. Southwest, that has always been a low cost airline, has made some significant changes that you don't want to get me started on.
Going against their brand?
That I think in some ways have gone against their brand, but in other ways, right, they've had to make some difficult choices, right? Probably based on feedback, just like Canva. But, that's typically what I say. It just depends on your brand and what you sell yourself as. We can't all be premium Ramon Ray. Not every small business owner can afford a Ramon Ray. But, that you have that. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a premium offer as a marketer. I'm just saying that whatever it is that you promote has to match your brand and what your promise is.
Leland?
Well, with small business trends, I mean, there's both options. There's the bargain where you can get the display ad, usually through ad exchange. And then where I don't have to talk to anyone, I don't have to touch anything, it just happens in the background automatically. And then there's the kind of more premium white glove service where I'm talking to a client and I'm actually providing a service, and it's a lot more involved, but it's a lot more money. So I guess I get the best of both worlds a little bit.
All right, interesting. Yeah, me, I think I appreciate the ease of use so much from my own consumer experience that I don't mind paying a premium. that I think that's how I kind of operate in the real world too when it comes to customer. If a customer gives me a good offer in terms of we'll make this easy, this experience is gonna, you don't have to waste a lot of time, and you pay a little, you have to pay a little extra for it, but to me it's worth it. I'm good with that, and I'm also good with providing that because it kind of aligns with the way I operate as a consumer, so I'm good with that. So anyway, and Phyllis is like, hey, I do both, so that's good.
I think Brent, one thing I want to add, Brent, is also knowing your client, as you said, Brent. I was doing something with one of our, Microsoft. We all work with brand partners, and I was doing the thing not to go cheap, but like, oh, I'll come in the morning of or something. I said, she's like, no. You're coming in the day before. We're getting you a car, a premium hotel. You're the talent, because if you're not there, the whole shoot's over. So understanding, of course, what you're doing and where you're at. I'm sure we all understand that. But I just want to add that for the people. Thanks, Brent.
Hey, the people say thank you, Ramon. Jeez,
Come on,
need that kind of stuff. All right, now another ripped from the headlines from Small Business Trends. And this one was really interesting. I think I forget the exact name of the folks who did the survey, but like Voice Smart or something like that. But what they found, they did this survey of I forget exactly how many people. I think it was US based. But it found that Generation Z is less motivated to start their own businesses than like previous, or I guess older generations like us. I found that really kind of fascinating and, I don't know, counter to what I was thinking it was. I'd love to get you guys' take. I have a reason, or I think I have an explanation, but I would love to know from each of you, hey, does this surprise you? And if so, why? Whoever wants to start.
I'll go. I think surveys can, of course, lend itself to whoever it may be, so that surveys are surveys. But I think that looking at the Ray household, Tim is an entrepreneur. Charity said, Dad, never, ever. Both said, I see what you're doing. And one went, yes. And one went, never. Ironic. So meaning my point being, taking the survey, we haven't gone deep into it, but I can believe it. Less motivated. A few. Entrepreneurship is very hard. There's a lot of risk. It takes some sort of money or time. So if you don't have that drive, that doesn't mean that Gen Z is not hardworking at all, but they may want to choose, I'll work hard, but I'd rather do it at McKinsey. Or I got my degree, let me work in a cubicle within a system. I can get paid every 2 weeks and still work hard. But to be an entrepreneur does take a certain bit of risk and a certain mindset, as we all know. So even I'll tag you.
Thank you, Ramon.
Yeah.
I have a Gen Zer in my house who graduated college last year, and I'm going to make an anecdotal observation based on what I see with him, his college-age educated friend group. So, right, this is purely anecdotal. What I'm seeing is generally what I'm going to call low-grade depression. Okay, and the reason I call it that the reason I say low grade is because based on what I've observed, they work hard. They've put in their work. They went to college. Many of them have college that we're lucky enough that we don't have that. And even without that, the jobs that they are getting are paying what I was making 30 years ago. That is not enough for them, and they want to live on their own. They want to be independent. And I think this takes off on what Ramon is saying. To start a business, you need time and you need capital, right? I don't see, they're working hard. My son does 10-hour days in a hospital, and that is like hard work. He's exhausted when he comes home. There's not enough time to socialize the way they want to. Their friends are on these different cycles. And it just, I see a lot of the human connection that they want missing. I see a lot of craving and unmet needs. And to Ramon's point, entrepreneurship takes a lot of energy.
Anita said, great to hear that. And before I get Leland's take on this, Anita also says she's seen studies that Gen Z is less inclined to want to get a job also. So why should anyone be surprised by them being less inclined to start a business? Interesting. So they just don't want to do a damn thing. No, I'm just.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that they've seen the reward. You know, I love what Ramon said about like they watch you. So these kids are watching us. Your kids are watching you and what your life looks like. And it's just like such a wonderful example. Somebody might be really excited by that, and someone might not be so excited by that. I think that, yeah, it's toss up. I love what Anita brought up too. You know, it's going to take a while, I think, to see.
And even that's why I said I'm so proud of both of my kids. And again, I just want to acknowledge, I know you did it at first, Brent, but Anita's dear to my heart, all of ours. So I just want to acknowledge, Anita, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for founding this amazing blog. And I know you Leland's been a big part of that journey some years ago. So I just want to shout you out and say your name. But yeah, even that's why both of my kids, I'm very proud of them. I think you said it right. They see us and it is a choice. You both are working hard, both whatever it is. But my daughter has said no. You know, I've teased her. She's a teacher and said things like, do you know the number of teachers it takes for your school to be profitable? What? Huh? No, I haven't. I'm like, you know what? I get why you don't want to be an entrepreneur. That's just how I think. If I'm in an organization, I'm like the speeds and feeds and levers of success. How does it work? How do you make your money? How can I make more? She wants to be the best teacher in the world, show up a few minutes before she has to because she's hardworking. She'll stay a bit later. You want her to work overtime? No problem. But she's not grinding and building the business. For me, even being paid less, it excites me to build. And I'll just say one more thing, Leland, jump in, is that, you know, look at our army as a maybe silly example, but right, there's people who want to be in the front lines with a weapon in hand. Others say that's not for me, but I would love to be support staff and make sure I can feed our soldiers. All are so needed, but there's so many different roles. So yeah.
Leland, how about you?
Well, I think my video is frozen.
Yeah,
but
it looks great because it looks like you're really in deep thought.
Deep thought. But my thought on this is I've seen that there's a lot of unrealized expectation when it comes to Gen Z, that when they enter the workforce, there's this element where they see the older generations and they see what they're able to get and where they're at in their position, and they want to be there sooner rather than, you know, building over time. And I think that that's an element that kind of scares Gen Z a little bit, because they'll see business owners and they'll see success, but as you said, Ramon, it takes time to build that. And there may be an element there where they don't want to potentially build. They don't want to have to go through that building process. They just want to kind of like launch and then succeed. And I don't think that like the tech sector has really helped in that too, because there are people in Gen Z who have left college, went to work for a big tech company, made it big and had to do very little work, get paid a lot of money. And well, now it's kind of starting to fall apart with a lot of people getting fired from the tech sector. But there was this heyday where there were people just getting paid to do very little work. And that, to me, kind of seems like what the Gen Z dream is a little bit. And that doesn't really translate very well when it comes to building and starting and building a business.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go in a completely different direction. And maybe that's just because I'm different and weird. I don't know. But I don't know if the Gen Z folks see this influencer role. I'm going to take Leland off screen until he comes back to us. Oh, that was quick. Hold on a second. Let me bring him back.
Good.
Actually, you're still frozen, but it's a different expression a little bit. I don't know.
And Brent, isn't that the best way to be frozen? Like many of us, if it was me, it'd be like,
yeah, mouth
I
open.
wish that was gone. Leland's like, you could leave it there. We wouldn't. He's just observing, and we're like, he's our AI bot or something. We can just, it's okay.
Yeah. So while Leland is in deep ponderous thought, I was just thinking, do Gen Z feel or view what the influencer and the content creator, do they view that as starting a business? Do they view that as like a traditional entrepreneur? Because they might not, but they also might actually be entrepreneurs and they don't even know it, because these content creators, they're bringing on employees, they're hiring teams of folks, they're managing projects, and they're doing it all outside the traditional employee structure. to me, that's just another way of saying I'm an entrepreneur. You know, maybe you're not considered a traditional entrepreneur, but eventually you guys are making revenue. You're bringing on employees. You're paying for stuff. That's about as business-y as you can get. And I see more and more people going the content creator route. So maybe they don't think they're becoming entrepreneurs or starting a business, but they actually are. And eventually they'll realize it, especially when they get them taxes and they start bringing on employees and have to do all the certain things. See, they don't like the stuff that the traditional entrepreneurs do. So they don't think they don't want to be that. They want to make the money, but they don't want to have to do the forms and fill out all that stuff. But they're still entrepreneurs. And I think eventually they'll realize that. That's why I'm thinking they're saying they don't want to be an entrepreneur, but their actions are saying something completely different.
And maybe, Brent, there's a middle road, because at the end of the day, maybe the word entrepreneur we have to edit, or small business owner have to change, whatever it may be. But to your point, I know that, again, talking to my son, his name is Tim, I'm not saying any personal business, but just in talking to him over the years, two things I've seen. A, there's a maturity level. He's now reading books like Traction, getting an integrator, going to some of my masterminds that but that's only recently. And to your point, though, he's loved content creation. I'm a creator, dude. He doesn't talk that way, but YouTuber. They like the feel of the attention, which we all do. We're here, right? We like to some degree of that, how we do. So you get what I mean, Brent? Meaning maybe it's starting off by some of them. I just like to play my guitar. Oh, Red Bull gave me money for it. Okay, that's cool. Can I still play my guitar? So that kind of attitude of, dude, I just want to shovel snow. Yeah, you can give me $100 for it. So that mix.
And also, like, the whole gig economy. I mean, yeah, it gives you the feel like you're not working for anybody, or it's not a business, but you have to keep track of what you bring in and what things cost, because you want to make sure that you don't have to pay any more money than you do on the stuff that you bring in. So even that is actually your business, even if you don't want to be or viewed as a traditional business or a traditional entrepreneur, you got to do the same certain level of things you're going to have to do if you want to, play your guitar and get millions of views and stuff like that. So I think that there's a little sleight of hand going on here, or maybe it's a sleight of thought. But Gen Z folks, you got to do the same things we all have to do if you want to make some money on YouTube or on TikTok or any other way for creating content. Deal with it. You're just like us. I feel like I have to say that sometimes because, you ain't better enough. Anyway, one last thing. Let's see. We're doing good on time. All right. So I think it was just this morning. What is it? Not the consumer price index, but the wholesale interest or inflation rate came out. And oh, look who's back. He's moving. Okay, this is great.
Hook up a second camera real quick.
Okay. So we're just going to be able to talk about inflation in the wholesale inflation. It was apparently like next to nothing or very low. And so everybody is now thinking, after all this time, after all these years since the pandemic and the supply chain issues, have forced all the inflation on us, and they've been trying to get it down like over the last several years, and now it feels like everybody's kind of saying, you know what, I think inflation is under control for the time being. Do you believe that? Do you guys individually believe inflation? And I know you deal with a lot of small businesses who have been really, inflation has been top of mind for so long. I mean, I looked at the gas prices here. I was shocked. $2.47 a gallon in Atlanta. Yes. So, do you think we are finally at the point where inflation is under control and we don't have to think about that every waking minute and hour as a business person?
I want to do a definitional thing again. I'm such a pain. I know it, my friends.
You are a pain.
I am a pain, right? We want inflation, like any good business system. We want inflation to be in a particular range, right? Too high, that's not good. Too low, that's deflation, also not good, because inflation is what measures the health of an economy. So the economists tell us they want that inflation rate to be sitting at 2.5. They're like, they want that number not to be high or low, but like at a sweet spot, because that tells us that if the economy is healthy, right? So apparently, having consistent inflation growth, because that's what plus 0.25 is a growing economy, right? I think what we small businesses are frustrated about is the cost of raw materials, whatever that is. We just talked about Canva. That's for those of us who are content creators. That is the cost of doing business, right? So I think what small business owners are concerned about, whether you're a builder or a contractor, the cost of lumber is a big deal, right? So I'm just going to say that. So I think if we can, quote unquote, control inflation, that's really key. I'm looking at what Anita said because she.
Yeah, let's put that back up. On inflation, it depends on what you mean. It's great that it's slowing, but groceries and other staples are already so high that it's still crippling unless it comes down to the pre-high rates. Well,
correct. That's a price. So there's inflation,
right?
And then there's pricing. And remember, who controls pricing? The business controls pricing, right?
And,
so
and the environment in which the business operates.
Right? The suppliers and the vendors and the costs that they incur, maybe like the shipping issue that we had averted. If the things, just like COVID did, when you disrupt the supply chain, the supply goes down, demand goes up. What happens then? Prices go up because
and that's what happened during the pandemic. And we've been spending, like, I guess the last 4 years really trying to bring stuff down from that point, because that was at the high, right? And it's just taken so long for it to, but it has come down to a certain, I think we're at like,
we pay it, right? What do we know about the price component of marketing?
Well, right? All right, so we, I don't know if we could go too deep in this, but part of why we paid it is because we actually got money to, when we were forced to shut the economy down, they sent us those $1,200 checks. And we were able to still spend, and we were able to still buy, and so we were even able to still buy things even at these inflated rates. Now we're finally getting to the point.
I have quit buying a lot of stuff. I have quit. I'm going to tell you right now, I am supposed to be on a romantic weekend with my husband, but I'm not. I'm sitting here.
But whoa. You may not be with your husband, and I hope he can't hear what I'm about to say, but you're still on a romantic weekend. Right now.
Well, that's exactly right. We are doing a romantic weekend, and we're doing it at home. And do you know why?
And right now it's happening. Right now it's happening.
Yes. The reason being that when I went to get the hotel, there was the resort fee that was greater than the price of a single night. And on a matter of principle, both of us were like, no. Can we do it? Yeah. But I just don't want to, because it feeds that beast. I don't buy certain things because it feeds that beast. I've quit buying certain brands because I know that they're raking in profits. There's shrinkflation happening in the grocery store. The stuff is smaller. They're charging the same or more. I will make another choice.
All right, let's talk more general, because there's always the case where there's going to be independent gouging going on, or certain things that are still way out of whack from the kind of the natural trajectory of where things are. But generally speaking, and I just, like I said, I just look at my gas and it was like maybe 50, 60 cents higher a month ago than it is now, which is, kind of a, the trend, but that's a kind of a really big example of it. But generally speaking, based on all the data, inflation is gotten to a point where it's between, like you said, even a 2 and 2.5%. And actually, wages are going up faster than inflation, which is usually what you want. You want people's salaries to go up more than inflation so they can afford to buy stuff. So do you guys feel good about what inflation as a business person right now, based on all the kind of the numbers that have come out in the last couple of weeks? Do you feel like inflation does not need to be such number one thing to worry about in the list of big things to worry about as a small business person?
Hey, Brent, as probably the least person here who understands this as much, I'll defer to Eva. That's why I was more quiet, defer to her on this. But here's my thinking. One, as one who's in the content business, speaking business, inflation, from what I can tell, affects me a lot less. For my peers in the car business, manufacturing, logistics, where the margins are a little thinner and just different, I think those type of businesses probably really need to focus on it more. So that's why for me, my more quietness was more so because in my business, the people I work with, authors, coaches, consultants, speakers, I suspect it's a little different for us. You know, if somebody's paying me $25,000 to speak or get a book deal, $50,000, it's just a different feel than my buddies in construction, where the gas and travel. So that's why they probably, those things affect them, because the profit margin and stuff is a whole nother ball game. Even I see you shaking. Does that kind of make sense what I'm trying to express? That's why for me, a little different ball game than others in other industries. What do you think, Ivana or Leland?
Leland, what do you?
Yeah,
you've been.
It's really tough because inflation usually comes based off of the value of the dollar. So if the U.S. prints more money, and I know that they did that a bit in COVID to be able to send out those $1,200 checks, that directly affects the inflation. There are other metrics to that affect inflation, and one of them you mentioned, Brent, which is gas prices. And as gas prices go down, the cost to transport goods to stores, transport wood, lumber, all that goes down, which ultimately helps reduce inflation as well. There's just so much that goes into it, and so when we do see some glimmers, you're seeing it in the right direction, but again, it's still going to take some time for those things to trickle down into the economy. I remember seeing a report that Kroger's profit margin is only 3.5%, which is really low. So even though they're getting products and they're selling them at a really high price, you would think, oh man, Kroger's making bank. They're selling eggs at double the price they were 4 years ago. They're pocketing that, right? And it's like, well, no, the farmers have to sell it at a higher price because they have to pay for their equipment and their feed for the chickens. And so they have to sell it at a higher price. And so Kroger is still only making about a 3.5% profit off of those eggs. And so it's just, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot that goes into it. And just a simple metric of, well, inflation is down. Well, yeah, but we're still seeing the effects down the line. And until everything once the water recedes and everything finds its level, and it's unfortunately still going to take a couple of years before wages level out to one area and eggs, and they all kind of level out, that we'll see kind of the end of the effects of inflation. So inflation is going down. Yeah, that's great. And that's a great first start. But it's going to take a little bit for all of the effects of inflation to kind of level out.
And Leland, let me add something there. And again, I say as the non-expert, and I do want to underline that because I know we have people listening to us, and I'm not speaking from expertise per se on this topic of finance and money. But Leland, to your point, I guess that's kind of also what I meant to extend my comments earlier, Brent, was just that let's look at the segments of America as well. Millions of people are on government assistance. They're still spending money from the government, and budgeting may be different than those who not on government assistance. Middle-class Americans, though, budgeting or like Leland, right? Budget conscious. I want to get that deal. 3, you mentioned we got that COVID check, pandemic check, Brent, or people, the high debt. I've used my credit card for quite a bit of things I've shared with my audience to invest in myself. So I guess there's all kind of different ways, because Ramon's a baller, but Ivana, does he have high debt? And Ivana has none. So we're there's a lot of things to shake up and mix of economy. So I do think inflation, to your point, you mentioned Kroger's a good example. I do think that kind of industry, as millions of small businesses have, right, where they're dealing with razor thin margins, they're focused on that to a high degree, unlike others who may not be. Back to you, Brent.
Yeah. By the way, definitely the credit card has kept the economy afloat to a certain extent. I think we're at $1.1 trillion in consumer credit card debt, which is not a good thing. Eventually, something's going to happen there. All right, this has been really fascinating. One quick one to go around because this literally I just saw this today. I'm going to pop up. I think this will pop up. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this. All right. So, my buddy Brian Solis posted this thing on Facebook about a fortunate accident his father had, but somebody helped his father, in this accident. It was like a good Samaritan, somebody he doesn't know, and so he posted this, just telling the story about what happened to his dad and how he was helped. And he posted this because nobody knew who this good Samaritan was, so he was hoping that by using his social connections that somebody might be able to point him to the direction of the person who helped his dad. So he posted this on Facebook, and of course tons of reactions, tons of comments. I have never seen this before, and this is the Meta's or Facebook's AI is now summarizing the comments that are being left on posts. And so there's like over 100 comments. And so they posted this. It says the community rally around Brian. I mean, it's really interesting. I want to get your take. Is this a good thing, net good thing, or bad thing? That now we're
I have
seeing...
a strong opinion, Brent.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a strong opinion, Brent. This is where my talk, Human Connections, Digital World, available for $50,000 a speech. Anybody who wants to do it, you say the name Brent Lear, I give you a discount, 50% off. If you want to invite me to your stage and speak on Human Connections, Digital World. So, Brent, Brian Solis, messing with y'all. Brian Solis has posed. Here's my strong opinion, Brent.
Okay.
I think it's good in a way, everybody, because we get the summary quick hit. But you know what I think's so sad? Increasingly, I'm not going to scroll down to see Leland's comment. I'm not going to scroll down and see that Brent clicked like. So it's just, we love AI, I love it. But things like this mean, I got the major point. Everybody liked it. Maybe AI even tells me, you may want to note that these two people, hyperlink, didn't like it. Great. But we just miss the hard work, kind of sounding Seth Godinish, of scrolling and seeing it. I'll tag Leland, but that's my 2 cents. I think it's good. I've noticed that more and more too. But I just think, man, AI is really... you come home for the game that you used to watch, even on high speed. AI now brings it to 30 seconds. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, done, or whatever. It makes it's cheating life. Leland, what do you think?
Well, I've starting to see that in Amazon reviews where they will condense. It's like you have 10,000 reviews, and it's like, oh man, that's a lot of reviews. And it'll say generally people like this, but they've had issues with this. And I like that as an overview because that tells me, okay, this might be a good product because I don't really care about that issue that people are talking about, or I could find a way to go around it. But I would crawl through the reviews before that, and I want to see all the 1-star reviews and start going through them. Like, what are their issues? Okay, it was a shipping error. I don't care about the shipping error because I'm hoping that it actually comes to me. Okay, this person had issues with the sound quality or something to that effect. That might be something that, but if I could get that in a overview and a review, and it says, yeah, a good majority of the people had issues with the sound. It's like, okay, that's a good, I'm out. I'm going to find something different. So I think it does have its uses in specific cases. When it comes to like the comments, that does kind of take out the social element of social media, because then AI is just telling you this is what people are socializing about it with.
I guess you're supposed to say tag Evena at this point.
Oh, tag Evena, you're it.
I meant, man, I've been thinking about this. I saw a similar story, not about Brian Solis, but I saw a guy who literally got broken up with via text on his birthday, and the Apple AI gave him a summary of that. And his comment about this was that in some ways it helped him distance himself from that. And I Ramon, I don't think that your opinion, everything that you guys have said, I am in complete agreement with. I find the summary reviews on Amazon, the AI reviews, completely and utterly useless because they all seem to say the same thing to me. I'm kind of curious. I've not seen this on Facebook. And I think this speaks to the marketing idea of how much more important it is to connect with your audience in a genuine way. Because I have a feeling that no matter what Brent or Ramon or Leland, I will not put myself in this category because you guys have amazing posts that get lots of engagement. And I know that I read through those comments because we have a connection and I want to know. So when there's a connection, I think that people will do that. And perhaps AI will only do that when you get a certain number of comments, right? Where it does seem overwhelming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, you know, and maybe there's an assumption there too. Like maybe those people are more celebrity types, right? So not everyone can be like Ramon and Brent and generate thousands of comments while still being a human being. You know, but I don't know. I don't know if that helped anyone.
Wait a minute. This is great. As we're getting ready to end the show, look who shows up. It's Monique. It looks like you're in a car.
Yeah, I am. Long story short, but I'm not driving and the car is parked. So
Well, we were hoping that you weren't driving and talking to us, but it's okay. All right, so we are literally about to end, but we want to get your take on this last thing. I'm going to pop this screen up again.
Okay. And I've been listening the whole time, by the way. So I was listening. So I heard everything.
So did you hear us just talk about this Facebook AI now summarizing comments and posts?
Yeah, that just actually happened to me this morning. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah. What do you think? Is that a good, bad? What do you think?
I think it's good and bad. I think there could be situations, especially, you know how on Facebook, we're in an election year or debates are going on and people are expressing their opinions on a post and stuff. And then it being summarized. I just feel like it just adds more fuel to the fire because sometimes they'll post something, but they will purposely not check it or they will remove it as a result of the comments that are coming through. But now to see like an AI come in and just summarize these different viewpoints could be triggering for some people or just, you know, people not handling it. But the good side of it, especially are those type of posts where there's positive comments or at least a good conversation. And let's just say, you know, I don't know about you all, but sometimes I post on Facebook just to do research, right? Or sometimes I'll do like poke a bear type of thing just to see what reactions I can get because I'll use it later for a content piece or I don't know, researching for a client or something like that. So to me, it's very beneficial in that perspective or that regard. But that's why I say I could see it being good and bad. I don't know if that
it's good. Speaking of poking a bear, I wish we could have got John Lawson's answer to this. But
oh yeah.
Not here today. Well, thank you for adding that perspective. That literally just came up this morning for me, and I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of nice. But then there's some valid points here, and there's also, what if you don't want your comments summarized?
Right.
Because Meta is already probably taking care of that in your agreement, so you don't even have a choice. Your stuff is getting summarized and fed back into the machine. We don't care if you don't like it. I'm guessing that's part of their agreements because that's usually how they don't like to let us do stuff with our own thoughts and things like that, which would be a problem for me for this kind of stuff. If I can't control, which of my stuff gets summarized and fed into the machine, I'm not that happy about it. I mean, I there are some positives, like, yeah, if there's 1,000 comments, I might want the Cliff Notes, right? I mean, we did that in school, right? I know you all did that in school, so don't even try to front. So there is kind of a space and a place for summarizations, but I want to control that space as much as possible. And we know Zuck is not going to let us. And it's not just Zuck; it's all these other things that I don't know. It's something that I think we're going to have to deal with and I don't know if we're ready to deal with it yet, but it is what it is. All right, so let's
just bring back MySpace.
Yeah, let's bring it back, man. And let's go to those dark web places where Leland shops and stuff like that too. All right, so we're at the top. We're getting close to the top of the hour. So why don't we do our final thoughts? And let's start with Monique, since she just joined us.
Final thoughts, just in general.
Oh, just anything. Yeah, anything you want to leave the audience with for this week.
Got it. I really like the discussion piece that we were talking about as far as like influencers. So what I would like to just final thoughts on that is that there's a lot of people out there who want to be influencers, or I feel like they aspire to be that way. I know we're talking about Gen Z, but there's people as a millennial or even Gen X's. There's people out there, all age groups, that want to be influencers. They think that's the easiest way to make money. Mm-hmm. But believe it or not, there's a lot of influencers who have all of those amazing numbers, but are not making a dime. And it's because they don't know the way to do business online, like we were talking about. They don't know the fundamentals. They don't know that instead of setting up a stand store that's still taking a piece of your money, you could create your own store and keep all of the money. So, and have your email list and things like that. So my final thoughts on that is anyone who wants to be an influencer, if that intrigues you, that's great. But be sure to learn the fundamentals, Business 101. And the very first thing is build an email list ASAP. That's all I got to say.
Nice. Okay. Ramon.
Hey, first of all, Brent, thanks for always being a great host. It's great to be here. And I think my final thoughts I'll leave for all small businesses, just keep going at it. Educate yourself, figure it out. As Marie Forleo says in her book, everything is figure outable. That's my 2 cents for the group. It's always good being here. Ivana, Leland, Monique, good to see you. And Brent and Anita, thanks for what you bring to the table. Thanks.
Nice. Ivana.
I think I'm going to go back to the wonderful conversation of think about what your lowest total cost is. A lot of small business owners aren't really aware of what it costs them to do business. And because we spend a lot of time talking about pricing, talking about inflation, talking about money. So remember the what do they call the redheaded stepchild of marketing? Pricing, right next to distribution. These are all things that are so important. And the very first step is to know your costs and know your customers' costs so that you can be the lowest total cost. And that might mean that you offer a great premium, that you can offer something that generates a lot of profit for you, but may save your customer a lot of money in the long run.
Nice. Last but certainly not least, Leland McFarland.
If you're Gen Z, and you're wanting to start a business, it can be scary, but it is actually a lot easier than you would think. I personally went through the whole process, and I thought it was going to be this monumental hill, this task, this, just lots of paperwork and ultra scary. And I was surprised at how easy it was to just get everything through and how kind people were and willing to actually help you get through that process. You talk to your bank and they're happy. They're like, oh yeah, let's get you a business banking account. And it's not something to be afraid of. Just kind of dive in and just find resources online that'll help guide you through it, and you can be a success too.
Nice. Oh. Ending on a nice positive note. I like that. It's sunny outside. It's Friday. Why not? I'll just say my parting thought is it's really great to see Anita Campbell in the comment section and all the way through the show. I mean, she was bringing some nice heat too. This is great to see. So I really love that. And I love the fact that we went long, but it was long with right substance and great conversations and great thoughts. So I appreciate this kind of conversation because I won't be able to yell at Colder Ice later today because we won't be able to do the show. So I really needed this, even though I still need to find a way to get some kind of anyway. So thank you for checking out this week's show. We will be back next Friday. There's always something new coming up, some things that we've not talked about, but we'll probably get a chance to talk about. So next Friday, noon Eastern. We will be back. Have a great weekend. We will see you then.